What's up, y'all? It's your boy Jason here at the Cowpart Bros. Come let you guys know that the date for the anniversary episode has been set, and it's going to be Thursday, April the 21st, episode 53. Mark your calendars down for that. It's going to be a good show, and the main thing is we want to hear from you. So make sure you continue to send us your messages via cowpartbros.com, the message button there, cowpartbros@gmail.com, 405-877-BROS, or just hit us up on social media and let us know what you thought about the first year of the Cowpart Bros, what you liked, didn't like, favorite moments, favorite segments, what have you. Make sure you get those to us by Thursday, April the 14th, the week before. So make sure we have it in time to get it in for the show, okay? And no matter what, make sure you remember this. When it comes to all things Cowpart Bros, make sure you like us, love us, share us, and follow us. Because if you like us, why wouldn't you?
Welcome to the Cowpart Bros podcast. I'm your host, Terrence, and with me is my co-host, Jason, calling in from the Batcave in Indianapolis. Jason, how are you, my good man?
I'm doing very well, sir. It's episode 50, milestone here in the house. Hey, man, I'm excited to get this. It's been a great road, but here we are, episode 50, bro. 3 good topics, one that people have really been talking about. Let's get into it.
Yeah, whatever you say, Slappington Bear. Thank you for listening. This is episode 50 of the Cowpart Bros podcast. For the uninitiated, Cowpart Bros is the podcast to hear. We are a weekly podcast for fans of culture, current events, sports, life, and entertainment.
And as always, we are your hosts, Terrence and Jason, and every single Thursday we come to you with a brand new episode where we discuss the current events of the day, sports, and the athletes we love.
And even some of the athletes we loved. No matter the topic, you can expect a brutally honest and fun exchange of snark while learning through the lens of our 30 years of friendship that originated in Calumet Park, Illinois.
And folks, for more Cowpart Bros content, make sure you connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and TikTok under the handle Cowpart Bros or Cowpart Bros Podcast for more behind the scenes of the show and just to engage with us every single day. But don't forget that the Cowpart Bros podcast is available to listen and subscribe for free wherever you listen to podcasts.
Like us, love us, share us, follow us. And folks, if you like us, hell, why wouldn't you?
Like Terrence said, folks, we are the podcast to hear and watch, so make sure you're living it, loving it, and doing it.
Okay, so there really wasn't much of a discussion about what was going to be the first segment, and that's because the Oscars got way more interesting as the night went on. I cannot believe how many hot takes have been generated based off of this Will Smith Chris Rock interaction. And it's just wild, man, because we swear we know these people. And we always say we swear we would know what we would do if we were in that situation. So Chris Rock, which is kind of wild that he went, I just think it's interesting. Typically, you get to tell those types of jokes when you actually hosting it. And what was interesting about the Oscars this year, Jason, is that they already had 3 women hosts, right?
That's correct.
So I don't know what the fuck was the point of that segment. Like, have Chris Rock out there talking shit. But things quickly escalated once Will Smith walked up on that man.
Now tell us why he did that, though, Terrence.
Well, one, Chris Rock made a joke about Jada Pinkett Smith and G.I. Jane 2. And so it was definitely it definitely didn't get the crowd going. It was definitely a cringeworthy moment, only to be followed by Will Smith walking up to where Chris Rock is standing and presenting, and then slapping the shit out of that guy. And it was so wild, people didn't even think it was real. Hell, I saw it in real time and I didn't think it was real. After about the 17th take, I was like, oh, that's real. That's real. Everyone's, evaluating people's reactions to the joke or reactions to the slap. And my first thought is, after about the 17th time, I was like, oh, that's a real slap. And this is a real issue because once you checked out the Australian cut and Will Smith proceeds to say, "Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth," that's when I knew it was real. I was like, "Oh, it's real. That was a real slap, and this is a real Oscar moment because those two black men were ready to do battle over that shit. It was insane." And Jason, I've heard all sorts of takes about like, oh, I've heard takes as crazy as Will Smith did thought it was funny, but because of how his wife reacted, that magically he just kind of pulled a complete 180. I don't know if that's the case. I think what's a more likely scenario, and I've seen some of our fans of the show and friends state that I think what would most likely happen is while you're dealing with some trauma, some disrespect, basically someone's coming at you a certain way, you don't start at 11. You kind of work up to 11. And maybe it took him a few seconds to actually get there, and then he probably just got more pissed off as he was walking towards the stage. I think that's the more likely scenario. I don't think anyone is so enamored with their spouse that they'll just do a complete 180. I think he probably felt the way as soon as he heard it. And then the the reactions, the emotions, and finally the decision to act. And guys, gals, non-binary, I'm not defending the act. I'm not saying it's cool for Will Smith to be slapping motherfuckers at the Oscars, okay? And Will Smith's crisis management team has effectively acknowledged that as well. I'm not saying that's okay. I'm saying you want people to react a certain way or not react a certain way, like at the drop of a hat. And I just think that's insane because we're talking about human beings here, and human beings process emotions as they get to them. And I think it just took a moment to be like, am I gonna let this shit ride or not? And I'm not saying I would have slapped him, but I understand. I understand. I understand. Um, you feel disrespected, or you feel that your family's being disrespected. And of course, what's fucked up about the whole celebrity game anyway is people act like, oh, you can just say whatever to them and do whatever to them, and think that there's no repercussions. Hell, in a weird way, that Hollywood ass room is frontier justice, right? I've done a lot of talking at this point. Jason, what are your thoughts about what
I don't.
transpired?
I don't want to stop you. You're on the roll. You never go that long. I'm like, let them go. Let them keep going. First, I do want to acknowledge. I think everyone knows this at this point, but I have to say it, put it out there. Yes, Chris Rock made a reference to G.I. Jane 2. That was in reference to Jada Pinkett Smith having her head bald, shaved, whatever you want to call it. And I didn't know this until it was mentioned after the fact that she apparently is, I don't want to say suffering, but basically she has alopecia, which, as some people may not know, that causes people to lose hair in patches, not including just on your head, everywhere, but that's what the deal is. So when it comes to the whole incident, I feel like there's really four main talking points. There could be more, of course, but I think the main four ones are number one, like you mentioned, the discussion of was it real, was it fake, was it staged? And I initially didn't know because at first I wasn't watching Oscars at all. But I was late Sunday night. I got a news notification saying, "Hey, it appeared, or Will Smith appeared, quote unquote, to slap Chris Rock." Because I said appear, I'm like, okay, what do you mean appeared? Was it like a fake thing? And then, like you said, I watched the video of it happening. I'm like, that definitely wasn't a fake slap, you know. So that part was definitely real. So then it goes into was it staged? And people still have their opinions on that. There are people who still say it's fake and staged. I don't. The Oscars committee already said they had nothing to do with it. So then it comes down to okay, if it was staged, it was done by Chris Rock and Will Smith, and what in what way does it benefit either one of them, especially Will Smith, to do that? So from all that going around, and then like I said, him out there throwing F bombs, which I can't off the top of my head, I can't think of any movies where he's done that. But obviously, his music career, he's never done that. We never known him to be that type of person. So that made me think it was real. Yes, I know Will Smith is a great actor. I get that. Okay. So my opinion, I definitely think it was real. Second talking point, obviously, is the Chris Rock side of it. Was the joke too far? Was he in the wrong? Should he have been joking about her shaved head? Did he not know about her alopecia? He may not have. I know I didn't. So also we know Chris Rock to be a little edgy to say the least when it comes to his comedic background, right? He's even made jokes about Jada Pinkett Smith in previous award shows, not about her hair, of course, but about other stuff.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah, there's some history there, but I don't think that that's related to this. I think that
No,
it was just the time and the opportunity, and people were fed up.
right. I'm not saying they're correlated. I'm just saying, but he's even made jokes about her before, so it's not like it's new for him to be jokingly picking on her, right? So there's that side of it. Then the third talking point, of course, is Will and his reaction. And I think that's really kind of the main point that people are focused on a lot is his reaction. And then I'm gonna come back to that one. But the fourth talking point is the Oscars event committee. They didn't do anything. Here you have a man on live TV at your award show physically assaulting another man on stage. The entire room saw it. The entire backstage saw it. The entire watching world saw it. 15 million people were watching this. So everybody saw it. They didn't do anything. He walked back to his seat, saw the rest of that segment. Oh, and by the way, Chris Rock was out there presenting an award, by the way, which he eventually did wind up doing. But
That's insane.
but yeah. So
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 what
no,
you're telling me is he wasn't out there to do a damn monologue. He just could have been out there, and that just seems like an unforced error, dog. Like,
well, I mean, Chris Rock's there. Obviously, he's a comedian, so he's not going to be there and get on stage and not try to be funny. That's what he's there. That's obviously he's there to present something, but he's there to be Chris Rock, and obviously Chris Rock is a comedian, and they got their comedy. And by the way, it wasn't that cringe when he said that joke. By the way, it wasn't really that cringe. Not saying people were giving standing ovations for his joke, but there was one standing ovation I'm going to mention later that was probably shouldn't have happened. But yeah, people weren't that cringe. The cringe moment happened after Will Smith slapped him. The dead silence at that point, for obvious reasons, and the shocks on people's faces that you could see later on after the fact. So again, the main talking point obviously was Will's reaction. Personally, when it comes to the smile part, I think that was more of like one of those fake smiles, like, "Oh, okay, okay, I see you." And then obviously he's really mad and kind of processing things.
mhm.
No one's gonna know what made him get up on the stage. I think once he decided to do that, that was the point of crossing the line, probably literally. Because if you had a problem with the joke, you can obviously say whatever you want verbally to him. Probably still could have yelled at him. Even because if he had just kept it at saying "keep your wife's name out of my effing mouth" or whatever banter you want to keep from the seats, I don't think anybody would have had a problem with that. It was him getting on stage and actually slapping some other dude because he said words to you, not even to you, just because he said words to your wife that you and your wife didn't like. In what other realm of scenario would most people with sound judgment think that was okay? That you can just slap somebody because they said something wrong to you? Not many. Now, yes, there are people out there defending, in a way, Will Smith. Some people have even said that, hey, I would have done the same thing. Say something to me, Cross, I'm going to come back at you 10 times, whatever. So a lot of people are saying, hey, Will's just protecting his wife. And they're even happy to see a black man protecting his black wife. I mean, I've seen several people say that. Tiffany Haddish said the same thing.
Right, right. So basically, we just co-signed an assault now. Awesome.
Right, right. So in general, I get that premise about protecting your woman, your wife, and black females happy to see that, and I get that. In general, the premise is great. But what was Will trying to protect Jada from? Was Chris Rock coming down the steps trying to smack her up a little bit? Was he trying to pull an August Marks or whatever his name is, August Alsine on him? No. So he basically Will Smith overreacted. Period. Based on his speech after the fact when he won the Best Oscar award. By the way, that happened. based on his speech, I'm guessing he's been dealing with a whole lot of stuff, probably based off of that August stuff. And then wrong place, wrong time. Chris Rock said the wrong thing to him. He flipped out. Definitely, he handled it incorrectly. His apology on the speech would indicate that as well. Although he apologized to the Oscar committee, the fellow nominees, and the crowd, but at that night he didn't apologize to Chris Rock. He apologized yesterday or today, but that night he had the gumption or the mindset so he could apologize to these people, but not Chris Rock. Even though
Well,
even though he knew at that point he was in the wrong. Go ahead.
I think at that point he was more concerned. I think he was concerned with, damn, they might take this damn award back.
Well, okay, so that's my thing. So if he was thinking that, why wouldn't you apologize to the man you just slapped on national TV?
Because that motherfucker don't get to vote. That's
Essentially,
why.
no reason. It don't matter.
It
It don't matter.
unless he's a member of the voting board.
He's trying to keep his award, trying to protect his image and all other stuff. Why would you apologize to that dude? But yet, instead, you wait till today or yesterday, whatever it was, because somebody told you, "Hey, we're gonna write this up for you. We need to go ahead and put this out there somewhere." Go ahead. Sorry.
I don't think it's an issue that an apology came a day later for Chris Rock. I would say there's an issue if it's damn near Wednesday and you ain't said nothing to that man, either via phone, text, hell, Denzel basically doing his best Madeline Albright impersonation, trying to broker a peace.
Well, they might have spoken by now. I know the last article I saw about it said they hadn't, but that could have happened between now and then, and it probably wouldn't be public. Probably wouldn't be. I'm sure some other public showing might happen later on, but at this point, it hasn't happened. And speaking of Denzel, I know people have been throwing that quote out there that he said about, paraphrasing, "If the devil comes at you when you're at your highest point or whatever." I'm like, again, premise wise, that's cool, but anybody using that quote after what happened for that, you can miss me with that completely. Everybody goes through trying times mentally and emotionally. We all do, whether you're male, female, celebrity or not. We all do. Sometimes how you act out of that stuff, sometimes, as they say, is a show of true character. Earlier, you said something in regards to how everybody's been saying how they will react in that situation. And it's like everybody says, sometimes you never know until you're in it. But I think in this general situation, I think people have a pretty good idea about how they will react. Some people, when they say that, are just BSing. But I know I can speak for me, that if that happened to me, I wouldn't be on stage slapping anybody. Because that wouldn't do any good for me. That makes me in the wrong. So I was telling somebody on Facebook today, it's like, even if Chris Rock went too low in his joke, why would you sink yourself even lower at that point?
I'm going to say a couple things. Number one, it's always easy to say what you would do when you're not in that situation. Well, I'm not inferring that means that you don't mean what you say. But I am saying that for many of us that have never been in that situation, well, hell, it's easy to say what you wouldn't do if you're not in that situation. I also feel that, I mean, if Will Smith literally just stands up and starts fucking yelling, he probably has Chris Rock's attention at that point.
That was my point earlier. Exactly.
Hell, this is not the first time Chris Rock has said some shit at the Oscars that somebody didn't like. I remember the year Chris Rock was getting in jokes about basically how many movies Jude Law had put out in one year. Mm-hmm. He was basically inferring that Jude Law needed money. And then, Sean Penn got all pissy about it. And I'm just like, give me a break.
But did Sean Penn go on stage slapping Chris Rock?
No, he didn't have to.
Well, I'm not going to go into why he didn't have to.
Oh, but also,
Will Smith didn't need that to go on stage either. So
right, it was like, hey, there are other ways. There are other ways to showcase your disapproval without, I guess, muddying the waters and sullying your good name. Because unfortunately, sometimes it's not. Sometimes what gets the most attention isn't the initial response; it's the reaction. Even though the reaction may have been well founded, and I'm not even saying that the way Will Smith responded was well founded. I'm saying generically, sometimes we fixate on, oh my God, look at how this person's responding. I'm like, yeah, we have no fucking clue though what was going on right before that. We have no insight into that. In this situation, we did, but that escalation wasn't just about those 5 minutes. There's a lot of shit going on, obviously, between all of those players there. And so, one, it's always funny when people say, well, I don't watch these events. Well, shit. Now you have a reason to. Will Smith and Chris Rock probably gave the Oscar ceremony a good solid bump in terms of pub. And yeah, is it the ideal reason you want your event to be memorable? No, but it's literally everything that we've been talking about all week. So,
Well, but that I see. I don't think. Well, like I said, I personally think that aspect makes me pretty assured that the Oscars committee had nothing to do with it. Because, like I said, yeah, they're talking about the Oscars, but not for what you want it to be. Example of that is I have no clue besides Will Smith who won anything from that night. No clue. And what do we usually hear the night of or the day after the Oscar ceremonies? Who won this? Who won best of this? Who won best of that? I haven't heard none of that other than Will Smith because of the speech he gave and all that hoopla around that. Speaking of which, so probably the two most eloquent reactions to this that I've heard were by two celebrities, quote unquote, Jim Carrey and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. When it comes to Jim Carrey, there's a few things he said in there that stuck out to me that I hadn't really thought of. We've been talking about the incident itself as opposed to the aftermath. But basically, Jim Carrey was saying, this isn't the part I'm referring to, but Jim Carrey was saying that basically that I would have sued, if it was me getting slapped, I would have sued Will Smith for $200 million. Now, the point he was making of that is because that video of Chris Rock getting slapped is going to be out there forever. When it comes to any type of video montage, people just searching for, in general, any kind of montage of most craziest things that ever happened on live TV, that's now going to be in there and probably number one for a long time. And so, from Chris Rock's perspective, he's always going to be the guy that Will Smith slapped on the Oscars live on TV. And the funny thing about it is the reason behind the whole incident is probably going to be forgotten at some point. Right? No one's going to remember if it's because of the joke or because Jada had alopecia. All it's going to no, hang on. All it's going to be is that Will Smith was on stage at the Oscars slapping Chris Rock.
I feel like you can't divorce this from the fact that it's had to do with his wife. I feel
you can say that now, but I'm just talking about in 20 years from now when it's still being talked about. When it comes to just from video clips of this happened so many years ago at the Oscars. Yeah, it might be a small little blurb about how it started or reasoning with the alopecia or whatever. But that's going to be a small minor part compared to what it is now versus the visual of, again, not only just any actor, Will Smith, I'll say slapping Chris Rock, a comedian.
Yeah, I'm gonna respectfully disagree. Fam, entire cities have been destroyed over defending a woman's honor. Okay, there's a reason. There's a reason Helen of Troy is still one of the best stories out there.
I'm gonna take one of your lines here. Apples and aircraft carriers. Stop it. Okay, we are now putting Jada Pinkett Smith, no offense to her, on the same level as that story there. Stop
Jason, you keep running your mouth. I'm gonna tell Will.
Go ahead. Because this is kind of jokingly, but I actually kind of agree here. Some of the jokes out there were saying that Will Smith wouldn't have got on stage, or the only reason he got on stage like that is because of Chris Rock. Like if it was The Rock or somebody like that, he wouldn't have done that. He would have been yelling in his seat probably, not even going one step towards the stage.
I mean, I just think it's crazy that it's not like we need to up the ante with a hypothetical scenario when what actually fucking happened is insane. Okay, I that fantasy is unnecessary when what happened in reality is still so bizarre because you've never seen something happen like that.
I do kind of wonder, and I don't want to take your attention away from one other point here, but I do wonder how people's, and we're probably never going to know, other than beyond right now, how much respect did Will Smith lose in general? Not necessarily from the public, but even from his peers, his colleagues, his other fellow actors. Now, people might have been there consoling him at the time, giving him a standing ovation during the speech, which I think is BS, by the way.
Why do you think that that's BS, by the way?
Well, this goes into what the point I was going to say is, again, you have a man physically assaulting, slapping another man live on TV on your show. Everybody saw it. Everybody witnessed it. Regardless of the reason why it happened, he still did it. He committed a crime on live TV. So for that, I give kudos to Will Smith. One of the rare occasions where a black man can commit a crime in front of thousands of white people and not get in trouble for it. Kudos to you, Will Smith. Maybe you'll be a pioneer. But that's what I'm saying. They were giving him a standing ovation, even though for his emotional speech, even after him, again, slapping Chris Rock live on stage.
So what would you want? An immediate repudiation of his, at this point, 30-year career in Hollywood?
So what? So what?
No.
So okay,
no. That's not a response, by the way.
So what?
No.
So what? He's been in the league for 30 years. So what? So if it was somebody who's been an actor for 5 years, all of a sudden that guy's been in trouble? But because it's Will Smith, it's okay.
I think, number one, listen, there's a reason why we don't always throw the baby out with the bathwater. You have someone in Hollywood, world-renowned entertainer and actor, had a bad 5 minutes. And no, I'm not defending it.
I know you're not.
Obviously, he felt bad enough to be like, yeah, I fucked up. I mean, even with the fact that he apologized, you're basically, he didn't apologize the right way. He can't fucking win with you, Jay.
So first of all, it's not about winning with me.
Obviously it is, since you're the one saying the apology isn't up to snuff.
Listen. Well, okay, so I'm basing this off of something we talked about previously, and also other people have said the same thing. People want to say, oh, it was all about emotion. He was so emotional. That's why he slapped him, blah, 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 blah. He was so mad. Now, obviously, he wasn't angry no more when he made that speech. So obviously, he was a little more clear-headed, right?
Why are we saying that he wasn't angry then?
He's in good enough mindset where he can apologize to two other entities or groups that had nothing to do with that incident, but he had no frame of mind for whatever reason to apologize to the guy he slapped on live TV, even though he knew he was wrong in the place. But my point is, the fact that the fellow audience members are giving him a standing ovation after he did that, and the fact that the Oscars people did nothing about it, nothing. They may take away his award later, which I highly doubt they're going to do that. They may do some other stuff to him, which I doubt that as well. But in that time in the moment, they did nothing. Nothing. They didn't escort him from the area. They still allowed him to get on stage and make his speech. Not saying they should take away, not saying that he couldn't have won the award. But he's still there up on stage giving the emotional speech for people to feel sorry for him. And people feel sorry for Will Smith. Oh, his wife cheated on him, blah, blah, blah. She's bald, whatever. Now he's crying, so that's okay now. We can go ahead and give him a standing ovation like nothing happened. Come on, bro.
Yeah. I don't think we're going to get any sort of consensus on that.
I wasn't expecting to.
I'm just saying. I
was expecting to get that.
Yeah. I'm saying the idea that just because he wasn't throwing haymakers anymore, that somehow he wasn't angry.
He wasn't angry, and he wasn't angry. He was not as angry, or he wasn't angry enough to where he just couldn't. He was still flying off the handle. He wasn't as angry as he was when he slapped Chris Rock. You can tell that. I'll say that. I'm pretty sure we can agree on that. He wasn't as angry as he was when he slapped Chris Rock,
Right.
or supposedly angry, whatever.
So basically, since he had cooled off a little bit, his apology needs to be perfect.
No, but what I'm saying is, I just find it funny that he didn't apologize to Chris Rock that night, or not even that night, not even that night, but in that moment. You had enough gumption to apologize to these two other people. No celebrities in that audience had anything to do with you slapping Chris Rock. Nobody in the back from the Oscars committee had anything to do with you slapping Chris Rock.
All
you know who did have something to do with him slapping Chris Rock? Chris Rock. And you knew you were wrong for doing it. Which is why he apologized for it. But yeah, you couldn't apologize to Chris Rock at the time. It came a day later.
I think
after your
Jason,
PR
I
team
think there are some people that could say that the apology would have been insincere had he done it immediately.
So it's better that he waited for his PR team to write an apology for him?
It's still, you're still putting the PR team to work. This says a lot.
All right, I tell you what. Next time I see you in person, which hopefully should be soon, I'm gonna slap you, not say a word to you the whole rest of the day. Go back home all the way 3 hours away, then send you a text the next day say, "Hey, my bad, dog."
Well, I'm hoping that the Jason Ross crisis management team can come up with something better than that.
Well, guess what? My crisis management team is me, so that's the best I got, dog.
Yeah, well, we need to work on that budget. All right, this concludes our segment from the slap heard around the world. I really do hope Will Smith and Chris Rock have a real heart-to-heart on this one. Coming up next, we're going to be talking about the Willie Wilson gas giveaway. Coming up next on Cal Prop Bros.